Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar today. This is Ideas to Lead and Be Prepared for Success. I'm Dave Christy with MW2. Along with Bolt and dotdigital, we're proud to present this webinar today. We built this webinar for an educational track to help members of the Direct Selling Association community. We hope you get a lot from this, and let's get started.
To Bolt and dotdigital is MW2. We are an active supplier in the DSA.org, and also we are a gold sponsor here of DSA Engage 2020. MW2 is a full service digital agency providing training, support, design, and custom implementations around e-commerce and direct selling solutions, particularly on the Magento Adobe platform. MW2 Direct has two different kinds of solutions we offer as a product line. One is our direct selling product, and one is our social selling product. And as an Adobe Gold partner, we have a specialization with the Adobe Magento Commerce platform, as I said, and that allows us some extra abilities to learn and engage with the Magento product team to build out these features in our roadmap for the direct selling industry. And Bolt is one of the top leaders in checkout optimization as well as fraud protection. You'll hear a little bit more from Noah Small at the end of this with a little more background on who Bolt is. And dotdigital as well is a full service, digital cloud engagement platform that really offers the full suite of tools for your digital marketing needs, whether it's SMS, email, social, even personalization on your e-commerce store. And you'll hear from Tink Taylor later in the presentation as well. So getting the most from this session, really taking the collective experience of our direct selling executives across our client portfolio, as well as our own team of experts that we have here. We've created a checklist to help you make sense of the recent volatility and really how to position your company moving forward. It's definitely no doubt uncharted territory that we're all seeing, and we're trying to adjust as quickly as we can for our current clients, but also looking to see how we can help the industry. So even with a modern platform in place, it can be hard to encourage change and get participation. And I think that goes for any time, but especially now with the current situation. So let's take a look here right at our jointly created checklist to help keep you on your acceleration of your digital transformation, and stay on top or come out on top as we go through this. So this is really an educational webinar. It's a checklist, and we'll give you some tips and insights here. And we also encourage your ideas around how you're driving change and participation within your organization by contacting us at the end of the presentation by going to our landing page here or visiting our virtual booth in the DSA Engage virtual marketplace. But if you want to go to our website, it's here up on the screen, and the mw2direct.com/engage 2020. So let's see it, right? What's the checklist for growth that we've come up with? So we've come up with this small list, but these really have far-reaching implications into improving your site. The first one that we can talk about, and we'll talk about each one of these in detail, either myself or Noah or Tink will get into them as well. So we'll go through implementing a brand influencer or ambassador program that will drive more traffic to your e-commerce site. Think of your traditional e-commerce affiliate model there. Reduce the mystery of many compensation models by moving to a streamlined model that allows for multiple revenue streams. This can help you cover virtual parties, your ambassador programs, but also still allowing to get credit for direct recruits and still grow in your traditional model. Embrace social sharing. Learn how to push your catalog to Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest to really help gain new customers, consultants, or influencers. Using data-driven decisions effectively, especially when you're trying to market or come up with different marketing programs. How are you going to merchandise the site, and increasing your customer engagement. And then we'll hear from Noah at Bolt about their frictionless checkout experience that also offers fraud protection and almost a guaranteed increase in conversions as a result. And then we'll hear finally in the last segment here from Tink Taylor, who is the founder and CEO of dotdigital, about how you can engage with the dotdigital platform for sending approved digital communications via email, SMS, text, right, using their digital engagement cloud. So moving into a new era, and we're calling this, the influencers, or some companies are call it brand ambassadors, but really this is the sort of the influencer model. And approximately 75% of millennials and Generation Zs, they don't really trust traditional multi-level compensation plans based on a recent survey that I've seen here, right? And I think it was one of my clients actually passed this along to me. And a lot of what we're seeing is some of the companies that have been around for a while have been moving into more of a one or two level compensation plan, which is probably quickly going to come the new standard when you're trying to go after the millennials and the Gen Zers. And this is, in our opinion, somewhere that doesn't necessarily require an expensive upfront investment or even ongoing platform cost if you have the right platform in. So let's talk, through here really what we're talking about when we talk about influencers. So we have, four main components of an influencer model. If you're not familiar, so we have brand influencers. They really are your affiliates, or your influencers that on your platform can create a profile that they'll use to build a buzz and gain more followers. And ideally, they're pushing that out, right? So the brand influencer is pushing out to shoppers who may or may not already know of your brand, but really they're sharing your latest products, content, photos, videos to their network of potential shoppers, right? So they're trusted in their networks, and the shoppers are hopefully, for a higher conversion rate than just seeing your brand on a search. They're going to convert a little bit higher. Your site ultimately there is where these shoppers will end up landing, whether it's connected to social or not. The shoppers can easily complete the transaction on your store. So that's a key piece there when you're bringing in the influencer model, is to make sure that your checkout is extremely straightforward and easy, that you're not going to lose people at drop off points that are typically seen in the industry. And finally, to build that trust with your new influencers, you have the ability to track their earnings. They should be able to track referrals and control their payouts, right? And all in some simple to use, ideally mobile, optimized dashboard. Okay, let's talk about becoming an affiliate with our MW2 direct affiliate product demo that we'll go through. Users easily become affiliates by providing their email, date of birth, and name. Then you can come in and they can track who this was, maybe referred to, or you can skip it. We also have the ability in here to collect their tax information that goes off into a secure server. Then it's masked and encrypted so that it's not able to be accessed by anybody but your internal team that may need to get access to it. This also can be tied into another system that may be controlling that. We also have the ability here to track your affiliate program. So this is really a dashboard of the programs you're enrolled in if you have multiple. My balance will show any of the history, what's available from either dollars or credits that you can reward from. Promo data will be their unique dashboard that has either their unique codes or they can create their unique referral links. So easily by dropping in a URL, they can create a link themselves and copy it and paste that out. And then they have banners if they want to share. And finally, get down into the genealogy, or really their referrals, right? So this can be named and managed however you would like, but anything that comes through the system that is tagged to them, they will show up here in this dashboard for them so they can easily get the confidence that you're tracking them. All right, so that was just a quick overview of the MW2 social selling module that we have that plugs into Magento, but also has the ability through APIs to connect to other platforms. So let's move into our next topic, right? Compensation plans, moving into a more simple and easy to communicate plan style, whether it's a one or two level plan. And really, there's six frameworks here that we're using, right? So we have, the embracing, modern e-commerce platforms, which will, give you the ability to scale and stay with the traditional e-commerce, methodologies and things, features, and user experience that has already been developed. Drive your growth through influencer marketing. Consider how you're going to have instant payouts and mobile payment services for those influencer or consultants. Think more in the person-to-person type of realm for activating new customers in a digital method now as opposed to an in-person method. Leverage rewards and loyalty programs for consumers, just as traditional retail and even e-commerce has done. And stick to a one or two level max. So when we talk about embracing, modern e-commerce platforms, really a lot of traditional direct selling platforms have been built around word of mouth advertising, strong connections, and home parties. But now lately, with the change in sort of the not only just the world, but just in user behaviors, a lot more needs to happen with these e-commerce platforms. And when you talk about that, you're looking more at building responsive design practices into your platforms, having the ability to either have a mobile app or a progressive web app or PWA that's all in one code base, or just simply enough just having a responsive website with a very good mobile experience that makes it easy to convert and is still fast and still has the full features of the desktop basically. A lot of the modern e-commerce platforms, they're being built with customer experience as the top conversion factor, which is really key to building your diverse, connected community. And these experiences, really cannot just be for top earners, right? You really want to make sure that you put this across your ecosystem, really, to get the full grasp of the ability of the platform you have and even the reach of your brand. And the best platforms, nowadays, are really allowing for rapid feature deployments by leveraging microservices through trusted partners, and that these help provide add-ons to really turbocharge growth. Whether it's adding affiliates, like Bolt with your streamlined checkout and fraud reduction, automated digital marketing, which is including your social, SMS, and email like dotdigital offers, loyalty and rewards, which really can tie to both of those. Your social integrations, how are you tying in? How are you using social? Shipping optimizations and arrive by dates, right? There's a lot of data behind, having the ability that people, when they go to your site, they want to know when they're going to get that product if they order that now. And that's a really big conversion factor. Yeah, I think that really, when you talk about how many direct selling customers abandon their carts, at what point in transaction are they abandoning? Hundreds of studies I've seen, at least, and or have heard about, and maybe not have dove in depth in, but a lot of the recent ones have been conducted, really measure the average rate of cart abandonment, across all industries in direct selling, and the percentages really range anywhere from 55% to anywhere to 80 or 90% in abandon rates, and that typically is due to having too many clicks, or sort of forcing them into a funnel to select either a consultant that they're tied to, or maybe a party if you're in that model. So really, if you have less than 13 clicks, your percentage goes up greatly, right? And the more you reduce those clicks, the better, the better chances are of conversion altogether. And just think of that, every step of the way, if somebody clicks, you might have a drop off. So that's where the platform will come into play, and the ability to add on services. And you'll hear from Bolt later in this about how they are able to do that. So when we talk about the next section, right? So your influencer marketing and reward programs. With the gig economy has come to improve technology platforms, small partial distribution, direct to consumer doors, a lot of interactions in social media and how people are buying. A strong desire for people to earn some supplemental income through that nature, right? So companies like Uber and Airbnb have proved that, how that model is, and there's copycats, and those continue to grow as well. So direct selling is really not only a channel that facilitates this framework anymore by itself, but affiliate and influencer marketing can really open up a simpler and less stigmatized framework. And the gig influencer, they're not really closing their eyes and thinking of that big dream of residual income, right? They're looking for an additional bump in their money every month for some maybe shopping of their own or additional car payment, things of that nature, right? So they're looking for $300 a month, $1,000 a month, just to add on or bonuses. So really, what I'm talking about here too is I just have an example of how Stella and Dot has really, redefined what they've been doing. Traditionally, they have used stylists to really sell in a party model. But when we has worked with them at MW2, we've seen them really break through to the millennials and the Gen Z by offering two kinds of models. They have the brand ambassador now that still provides that traditional touch point and direct selling with providing toolkits and education. They can earn cash, by selling items. They have access to all three of their brands now, which is Stella and Dot, Keep Collective, and Ever Skincare. But they also now have implemented a referral rewards and VIP loyalty program, which allows for people to earn through sharing a product and recommendations of product. Right, they can also add free product, and they can get different levels of abilities there based on their tiers. So, just another way, an example of how companies are really adapting and shifting to meet the demands of the newer marketplace. So when payments, we're talking about payments here, not necessarily payments on your website, but these are payments out to your consultants or your recruits or influencers, ambassadors, whatever you may call them, right? So really setting up a simple structure, allowing for tracking of payments and instant payouts is being key. And I think the easier and simpler the process, the more engagement you get, because as people see they could easily earn cash and get money out, and it's real cash or it's real rewards, their engagement with your brand and likely to share and do more efforts for you are greater than if it's a longer cycle to get paid, or it's harder for them to actually understand that they got it, and they may lose track that they actually have earnings coming. So think of sort of Rakuten has done that with the model that they took from the Ebates model that when they bought them over, and they sort of had the ability to earn that percent back cash, and it sort of pays out, and you can control when and how you want those paybacks. So most multi-level compensation plans put off new recruits with thoughts of jumping through different compensation plans and the hoops and trying to understand that. So by streamlining to one or two levels max for compensation, you can make it very clear on how they can earn, and it's very easy for them to look at that model and see what they're able to earn. And I think the success of the gig economy tech companies, they've offered instant payouts, right, to different digital payment services, Venmo, PayPal, or direct to your bank account type of concept. Social selling, so millennials are really inherently social creatures, right? They've grown up as their natural habitat, so called, right, with social media. They've grown up with technology. They've been plugged into social media. Everything they do is tied to that interaction, from logging into certain areas to interacting with their friends and their network, right? Everything is coming across through social media, and they love interaction, right? So they care generally about what other people's feedbacks and feelings are and reviews. And in fact, I think it's probably about 90% of millennials who are consumers who will trust peer recommendations more than ads. So that's even goes upon more if you think about it. If millennials like something, they instantly share it, they retweet it, they like it, they love to talk about it and write about it, or they create videos and TikToks and Snapchats, right, to really grow and show their love for particular brands. A lot of times without the brand even knowing that this is happening. So direct selling companies really can take advantage of this by using millennials, natural instincts to noticeably improve their social media marketing campaigns. And just for the record, I think I saw Forbes found about 62% of millennials are more likely to buy products if the brand engages with them through social networks. So as distributors, millennials can enjoy easy selling experiences with no need to really invade people's personal spaces. They don't have to go door to door. They don't have to have those uncomfortable conversations in cold selling, or stand inside a mall or a store and try to sell with a little table. They already have a wide network of online peers, whether it's their friends they've made through school and college, through their careers. So really take advantage of their built up networks as opposed to trying to grow it yourself. it's very easy to grow it this way as opposed to growing your own organically. Effective data-driven decision. We'll move on to this next topic, and this is really why it's so important to have data-driven decision making. Um, I think a lot of companies understand this and they make this a mantra, but they don't really know how to really get the most out of their data and what is most important. Now, I'm not going to necessarily be able to go through here and tell you exactly what your OKRs or your KPIs for your industry are, or what you really should be. You know at a high level. I'm just going to talk in general about how we measure things in sort of the e-commerce world. I did grab some of these charts, which are easy reference periods from Glue, so we can sort of see how this goes. So thinking of all the decisions you make on your business requirements and decisions you have to make for a budget and things like that on a weekly or even daily basis, you really need to think through what channels to advertise in, what campaigns are you going to run, what creative do you need to include in those campaigns, right? That's very important to know, because a certain image could off-put and be off-putting based on the brand or what you're trying to sell. So very important to understand what works well and what doesn't work well with your customer base, and using data to drive that. Which products to market to which customers and how to price those products, right? That's a lot that goes into a lot of the underground um, thinking that goes into the top performing sites out there, as they take a lot of that knowledge and they really cater exactly when you come to that site. They really know what to put in front of you, and what when to run promotions and how long. Use it for those kind of things. You want to understand that you don't want to give away things for free if you have a hot, selling product. So, really knowing that is comes into really having that real time data decisions to drive that, and let you know when you need to turn something on or off. Where to increase or decrease your advertising spend. That'll help, especially across categories that you think should be doing well, especially if there's high margin to them, or even high low margin that is moving really fast. Do you necessarily need to keep spending on advertising if it's got a good churn rate already? And how much to charge for shipping is another good option, right? You offer free shipping. Do you build the price up of your product just so you can offer free shipping? Those are the kind of things that are important, I think. And a lot of times, if people see they're paying for shipping, they may be abandoning the cart. So understanding if you have a drop off at a certain part when they're getting to the shipping is very important data points to look at. And then maybe the data can also help you drive to what kind of return policy you might need to offer. If you're seeing patterns of products that come back, maybe need to have a more guided experience on what they need to buy, whether it's a size charts or application fits or how things will work, or maybe skin type if we're talking about beauty products. So different kind of options there that really can help. Maybe you wouldn't think of how you adjust your return policy, but by taking a look at your returns and how your return policy may be, and even how you may help people get to that end product result. Just some more charts here that I put together, and really of how some other conversions you can sort of make. How you're going to calculate repeat purchases, how to calculate sales growth here, and how to calculate your average order value. Some important KPIs to think of as you move through. The areas of setting up your data. And a lot of this data is easy to get from your current platform or even Google Analytics. It will take a little bit of work, but with either somebody that's an expert on your team or finding a consultant that is expert at that will help create these. And a lot of times it's as simple as creating dashboards with some of the tools that you have already. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there for my portion here with the MW2 portion here that we ran through. So just to wrap it up, if you want to get started or have questions with us and want to learn more, go ahead and go out to mw2direct.com / engage 2020, and get in touch with us, fill that form out, and a member of my team or myself will reach out to you, and we'll schedule a call and see how we can help you out. Appreciate everybody's time today. And next we will hear from Noah Small, the Director of Partnerships at Bolt, and then followed by Tink Taylor, the founder and CEO of dotdigital. Thanks, everybody.
All right, up next here in this webinar is going to be Noah Small, a partner manager at Bolt. And Noah's going to talk about here how to implement a frictionless checkout with Bolt as well as reducing fraud and hopefully increasing your conversions. So take it away, Noah.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great day. My name is Noah Small. I'm a partner manager over at Bolt. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who put a lot of time and effort into organizing this webinar series, and really appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you so much, and wish we were in person, but this will have to do. Really what I want to do just in the next 15 minutes is walk you guys through a little bit of the background on Bolt and some of the problems we're trying to solve in the e-commerce world, and give you a better insight into some of the work that we're doing. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to start with giving a little bit of background on Bolt, and kind of, whenever we're talking about e-commerce, always find that the 300-pound gorilla in the room is oftentimes Amazon, who has only been increasing their market share of the e-commerce in the U.S. Since COVID started. I think the last statistic I read was that they have close to over 40% of the market share in the U.S. right now. They're, I think a ruthless company, one in which I think you have to admire, but that has put a lot of other businesses out of commission. And what's happened is retailers around the world have been playing catch up with Amazon, trying to replicate their customer experience and success. So I like to think of things like the 2-day shipping, the product recommendations, the super, super easy to use checkout, all these features that people have become so accustomed to. And this is really the main problem that we're trying to solve for over at Bolt. So consumers have come to expect this super quick and easy checkout experience online, like the ones that they're all having on Amazon, but the vast majority of online retailers have subpar buying experiences. So as I'm sure a lot of people on this recording are very well aware, companies spend a ton of money to get people to their site, capture their attention, tell these amazing stories about their brands, only to get to checkout and be bored senseless. This is why 7 out of 10 people who actually press that checkout button abandon their cart at checkout. And that's a number that we're obviously trying to change and impact for our customers. And really what we're doing at Bolt is a checkout platform that's trying to make sure that everyone who wants to make a purchase can actually make that purchase. And here's kind of 3 ways that we're focusing on that. The first one is around conversion. So we've studied millions of checkouts in order to figure out things like what's the most aesthetically pleasing checkout, what fields actually need to be there and what fields don't, and how do we just get the customer through that entire checkout as quickly and as seamlessly as possible. The second component is really around fraud. And one of the insights that we had at Bolt is that checkout and fraud are oftentimes thought of as totally disparate parts of the tech stack, but they're actually intimately connected. And what we found is that we can actually be incredibly precise with our fraud because we own the entire checkout experience. And vice versa. We're able to take a lot of the friction out of checkout because we do fraud as well. But I'm going to go into a lot more detail on that in just a second. And the last is really about retention, retaining customers. We have an ability at the end of every checkout to save your information so that the next time you come onto that checkout or any other Bolt powered site, you're going to have a one-click checkout experience. Tiny bit of background on us. We started back in 2015. For the first 2.5 years, we were actually completely in R&D mode, building out the product. We launched the product around 2 years ago. We've hired. We've raised our Series B. We've raised close to $100 million. Really not saying that to brag, but really just to say that it's allowed us to hire some really awesome people. So we have a bunch of engineers from Google Pay, folks who built Airbnb's payment stack, and some real experts in the field. We also have an amazing group of experienced advisors and investors called the Bolt Retail Coalition, and basically these are leaders and executives from Tom's, Bombas, Seamless, all helping us integrate best practices and the newest and greatest and latest technologies into our platform and make them scalable to the largest retailers in the world. And real quickly, want to jump into the conversion piece of what we're doing over at Bolt. So, like I mentioned before, at Bolt, we're studying, millions of checkout instances to see where folks are getting hung up in a checkout. So our engineers then devise A/B tests to go and test theories on what might remove that friction. And then we integrate that into the platform and push it out to our network of merchants. So the point here is that when retailers integrate to Bolt, they see an immediate uptick and conversion, and then they're constantly seeing improvements on the Bolt platform. Really, the point of this slide is really just to drive home the point that Bolt is not a static technology. It's dynamic. It's constantly changing. We're constantly running A/B tests, and we're constantly trying to figure out how to get people through this entire checkout experience as quickly and as seamlessly as possible. Now, I actually want to just walk you guys through a quick demo of what a Bolt checkout looks like. I have one right here. So I'm going to go to Hyperice. This has actually been amazing for quarantine. These are these like massage tools. One of my friends brought them up, and then I decided I had to get one. They're very addicting. They are an enterprise Magento customer of ours. I'm on their cart tool page. I'm going to press on the checkout button. I'm going to walk you guys through the checkout button, through the entire checkout experience, and then stop once I'm done. So I'll point out a few optimizations we've made along the way. So this is going to autofill a bunch of my information because I just filled this out earlier today. But notice the first thing is that we didn't get redirected to another page, that the modal overlay just popped up immediately. We do that because what we found is that 3 or 4 second delay is actually a huge point of drop off. Notice we're staying on the same URL. Everything outside of the checkout box is completely dimmed. So your focus is really on one call to action, which is, continue to the next step. Right here with shipping address, we have a deal with Google Maps and a company called Lob to create automatic shipping recommendations. So instead of filling in, 5 or 6 fields over there, you're just putting in 3 or 4 characters, and boom, it's going to autofill. On the delivery side, this is fairly simple. We're basically taking whatever delivery methods are currently being used on the back ends and just plugging those right in. And then lastly, we have the payment. And this is really where we're a differentiator in the market. So notice here that we're pretty much the only checkout on the market that doesn't ask for the billing address or the billing CVV. The reason why we don't need to do that gets into the second component of what we do at Bolt, which is the fraud piece. So historically, the only reason why you needed the billing address was to see if it matched shipping for ABS verification. But because we do fraud as well, we actually don't need that billing address or billing CVV or any of that information. And this is one of the ways in which checkout and fraud are complementing each other. If you look right over here, remember my information on this device, you have an ability, and I alluded to this before under the retention pillar, we have an ability at the end of every Bolt checkout to save your information so that the next time you come onto Hyperice's website or any other Bolt-powered site, you're going to have a one-click checkout experience. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what that experience looks like over here. I'm gonna come off this now. I'm not going to put in my credit card number. And let's continue on over here. If this wasn't a pre-recording, I would ask for some questions right now, but I'm just going to keep moving through right now. Give me 1 second. So I really like bringing up this slide. Let me make this larger presentation again, because this slide shows how Bolt stacks up against all the major platforms. So as you notice here, we're 35 to 90 seconds faster than any other native checkout on the market. So how are we doing that? Things that I alluded to before were fewer clicks, fewer fields, 0 redirects. Everything's happening very quickly and very seamlessly. All right, great. So there are a couple of additional features that we've added into our checkout to push things even further. And we're actually doing a lot on our product roadmap right now, but I'm just going to highlight a few of them that I'm quite excited about. So not only are we learning from every checkout to modify the experience, but we're also able to do things like deliver targeted discounts to shoppers who are likely to drop off. So let's say we know we have someone and they've left their checkout box open for a while and they've gone to a new tab, and maybe they're doing what we've all been guilty of doing. They're doing price shopping. We can actually deliver a discount to them in real time to help convert that shopper. Now, kind of in that same vein, we're offering a buy now options on the product page as well. So the Bolt button can get placed anywhere on a merchant's website. So let's say someone's coming from an Instagram ad and they see something they want and they have super high intent. They land on the product page. They don't have to add that to cart, go to cart, click checkout. They can actually just click the buy now button and can go right into that modal from the product page. And what we've seen is we've had 24 retailers who have implemented this already, and we've seen as high as a 17% increase in orders. Obviously this is going to impact average order size, and in order to counterbalance that, something that we're offering now is customizable upsells and opt-ins. So we have these targeted upsells that we can give to merchants. So let's say, we were talking to a speakers retailer who told us every time they sell a speaker, they try and sell a mount as well. So in the checkout experience, we can show the mount in addition to the speaker to increase that average cart size. So really just adding any other product that might complement the one that they're buying right there, similar to what you see on Amazon. In addition to that, we can also put in customizable opt-ins. So think of things as you see here, the save my information for faster checkout box. We can put in things like I agree to terms and conditions. You can put in, opt into a loyalty program. Great. So now I want to talk about how driving repeat purchases increases customer lifetime value. And this really, we're going to hit on the retention piece, which is something that we alluded to before. Oftentimes when we're talking to customers, what we'll do is we'll ask, how many folks are actually creating an account with you guys? And usually that number is very minimal. So it can be anywhere between 3 and 5%. And one of the great things about Bolt is that 60% of Bolt shoppers save their information for future purchases during checkout. What that experience looks like, take a look on your left. I'm going to click this play button right here. This is what the experience is like for returning customers. So as you'll see, you'll be prompted to put in your email. It'll remember your information. To confirm, it's going to send a 6-digit code to your phone. You're going to plug in that code. And then boom, you're going to have that one-click checkout experience. Now, why is this so important? So if you look at our single-click transactions over the course of a year, it's growing tremendously. And as what you're looking at right now is what that growth looked like for one of our merchants. So they started off the year with this merchant just being, around 5% of their customers opting in to the single click checkout. And now they're doing close to 20% of their customers are doing the single click checkout. So as we grow our network, that number will naturally increase. And we are well on our way to being the single click checkout solution for everyone on the web that is not Amazon. I want to point out this slide right here. This is really how Bolt stacks up against everyone else in the market. As you see here, the blue is Bolt and the purple is everyone else. I won't go into all the numbers, but as you see here, it really doesn't matter what technology we're on. We're going to convert at a higher clip than anyone else. Now, I want to point out that, I mentioned in the beginning, for the first 2.5 years, we were completely in R&D mode. This entire product was built with a mobile first world in mind. So I'm sure you guys have all had that experience where you want to buy something on your phone and you're scrolling through and it's a very long and arduous process. As you see on the left, this is what Macy's, obviously a huge brand, what their mobile checkout experience is like. It's long and tedious. As you see on the right, the Bolt modal overlay fits the phone perfectly, making it a very quick and easy experience. And this, of course, is before enabling the one-click checkout experience. Now, lastly, I just want to hit on the fraud component of what we're doing over at Bolt. And again, we alluded to this before. One of the insights that we had at Bolt was that checkout and fraud are actually intimately connected. And one of the ways that we're able to be incredibly precise as a fraud tool is that we own the entire checkout experience. So if you think of that modal overlay, the things that we're looking at are over 200 behavioral variables that let us know whether the person on the other end is legit or not. So we're looking at things like, is their mouse moving off screen from and copy and pasting from somewhere else? Is the first item they're getting on the site the most expensive item on the site? Are they making a lot of spelling mistakes? Things that allow us to be incredibly precise with fraud. And again, because we can do that and because we have a fraud tool, we're able to take a lot of friction out of checkout, like the billing address, billing CVV. So all these unnecessary fields, are removed from checkout. Now, in addition to that, one of the more important things to remember about our fraud tool is that we cover all liability for fraud. So if anything slips through the cracks or there's a chargeback or anything like that, we're taking on all of that liability. Great. So the majority of our fraud detection is being done by our machine learning algorithm, but we do have a professional review team in-house. They sit in Salt Lake City with a 1-hour SLA, and they're going to take a very close look at anything that the algorithm deems as potentially fraudulent. Now, of course, the last say is always in the hands of the merchant, so they know their customers best. So if there's someone who we deem is potentially fraudulent for whatever reason, but they know that it's a legit person, they can of course override that. They just take on that liability for fraud right there. So those are the main components of fraud. I'll just point out one really interesting feature that I'm quite excited about that we're going to be rolling out as it pertains to fraud is how we can dynamically render a checkout based off of a user's risk profile. So we can actually see how this user is interacting with the site. And once they get to checkout, we can actually either remove friction if they're low risk, or we can inject a couple of additional security steps like adding in a billing zip code or CVV if they're a high risk profile. So anyways, these are just a few of the exciting features that we're going to be rolling out at Bolt pretty soon. I'm going to stop here. I know this was a lot of information. I hope this was helpful and gave you a sense of some of the work that we're doing over at Bolt. Again, my name is Noah Small, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all on this or anything around Bolt or e-commerce in general, where we live and breathe checkout. So feel free to reach out, of course, with any questions. And yeah, thanks again, everyone, for your time, and hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Noah. Some great content there. All right, next up here, we're going to get into dotdigital. Tink Taylor, the founder and CEO of dotdigital, will talk us through really their product, but really also about why it's important with digital marketing to really own and control your messaging, and how you can really get a better grip on this with their tool, their engagement cloud, and really help manage and push your brand forward. So here you go. Take it away, Tink.
Hi everyone, I'm Tink Taylor, the founder and president of dotdigital. And yes, that's right, today I'm going to be talking about data and how sexy is that. So that's right, I actually said dotdigital. So over the last few years, a lot of you would have gotten to know me as Tink Taylor of dotmailer. However, we've been super busy and we have rebranded. So I wanted to take this opportunity to explain what we've been doing and why. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about us, our solutions, and our clients. So as a business, we're now called dotdigital. Our platform we now refer to as the engagement cloud. So who are we? Well, there's 350, actually nowadays nearly 400 staff, and we're located in 13 offices globally. We're listed on the London Stock Exchange, and happily for us, we're 21 years old this year. So we've been around for a while. We're a Magento Premier partner and a Shopify certified app. So most importantly for you, especially in the Magento world, you should know that we are bundled in with your Magento core code, meaning we are primed, vetted, tested, and ready to go. We're also a solution for all. We have over 4,000 customers globally, and as you can see, we operate across all sectors. Around 50% of our clients are B2B, and actually that means the other 50% are B2C. And in the ever-expanding world of B2B commerce, experience of both is vital. As mentioned, the platform is now called Engagement Cloud. Why? Well, purely and simply, over the last 20 years, we'd outgrown our name. Having the word mail in our name simply didn't do justice to all of our capabilities. And most importantly, we started seeing clients with conversion rates 7 times higher when using omnichannel over email-only campaigns. Now, I love this slide because it really shows what we've been up to. In 1999, when the BBC first used our platform, we only had 4.5 lines of code. Since 2008, we've actually made over 150 major software upgrades. We now have something like 1.5 million lines of code and counting. Therefore, it's difficult to list and track all that we have done. We've clearly evolved where other chimps might not have done. And obviously, we don't want to be left behind to look like some kind of dinosaur. Okay, that's enough of my cheesy puns. What does this mean for you? Well, we want you to send communications that engage your customers. So you acquire smarter, convert faster, and deliver bigger. And you do this by giving personalized experiences using data-driven insights. Now, what do we mean by personalization? Well, put simply, it's the ability to communicate with customers on a one-to-one level. It's so important for e-commerce. It makes you stand out from the crowd. This will empower your messages and drive your engagement and ultimately lift your return on investment. Now, here's a great quote from Tom McGee of Forbes. In short, he says, millennials want to feel valued, and that's in all channel, and this creates loyalty. Retailers must examine what they're doing with their customer data, ensuring that they deliver a more personalized experience. Millennials, by the way, are more receptive to personalization techniques. They're less guarded about their personal data compared to prior generations. They're more in tune with the risk, and they understand the value exchange of getting better experiences in return for giving up their personal information. Now, this is great news for marketers, since data is the backbone of any personalization strategy. It opens up many avenues for creating relevant and therefore highly converting experiences for consumers across all channels. Data is at the center of everything for us. It's the magic layer, if you like. And nowadays we have so much data where we must use technologies like AI, automation, personalization and segmentation to communicate. And you do this just by not using purely only email. We want you to connect, and that's putting all of your data to work so you can focus on your bigger picture and your strategy. This empowers you, power up your marketing by using tools that make those tasks easy. This enables you to communicate, creating meaningful experiences that delight your customers wherever channel that they live in. So let's look at the phases in the buying cycle. Let's start with your data and make sure you link all of your data sources and make sure that data is actionable. When you do, this gives you insight. You discover things like hottest prospects, you're storing the consent, and you begin to segment. This helps you engage, sending smart, relevant, omni-channel communications that help you convert, abandon cart, and abandon browse. Then you move on to your retention, and you use all the data you have to send the right message at the right time, and importantly, in the right channel. Now, I want to point you at some research we do every year called Hitting the Mark. It's actually something we've done for 10 years now. We study 100 brands from all over the world. Some of the brands are pure play e-commerce, others are omni-channel e-commerce brands. The sample includes small, medium, and large brands. And by the way, this isn't 100 of our customers, so the report simply doesn't read, hey, look at these guys, didn't they do well? We actually call out the good, the bad, and the ugly. Each brand gets evaluated on their overall customer experience, and the methodology we deploy allows us to remain objective and unbiased. Essentially, secret shoppers go out over a period of 6 months and follow a typical customer journey, which we then re-engineer and score. So what do we find? Well, it's not a big surprise that brands are looking to capitalize on the major shift to mobile. Firstly, make sure your emails are mobile optimized. If you give someone a bad experience on their mobile device, they're not going to come back on a different channel or a different device later to convert. It's so important, as we see up to 70% of transactions being made on mobile devices these days. Brands have started to also offer more mobile-friendly payment methods such as Apple Pay and PayPal. And by the way, if you skip the site using these, beware there could be stock controls issues. So it's not the ideal solution, perhaps for every product. For example, a product with lots of variations, maybe sizes and colors. However, if you sell something that has unlimited stock, it can be ideal, perhaps a digital download or a white paper. The website just gets in the way of the transaction. The next thing we saw was what I call the Dory effect. I assume everyone has seen Finding Nemo. When we meet Dory, the humor is she suffers from short-term memory loss. Every time Dory meets someone, for her, it's like meeting them for the first time. Funny at first, but when Marlin first gets frustrated, as he continually has to tell Dory who he is and that he's looking for his son. We saw the same thing with brands in the study. We signed up, we filled out every single form, we browsed, we interacted with them on various different channels, we even bought stuff. They should know something about us, but we saw the brands continually sending us generic stuff over and over again. So you have to ask yourself the question, how can you build a strong relationship with your customers if you act like Dory? Now, if I said we were going to go out and plow a field, I'm sure this picture is not the first thought that you would have. A modern day tractor has Wi-Fi, satellite TV, and is run by a computer. You get in and you press the button and the tractor does the rest for you. So how does this relate? Well, the way you plow a field is now automated. This picture is not automated at all. And we saw a shocking lack of automations in the brands we studied. Most shocking was 14% of the brands were not sending a welcome. And why would we want to do that? Well, 70% of consumers say they expect a welcome. It's just plainly polite. 80% of brands were not practicing any segmentation, meaning campaigns lacked relevancy. And why is that important? Well, relevancy equals results. There is no excuse. Far too many brands are still batching and blasting their messages. 55% of brands failed to send an abandoned cart email. That's nearly 50% leaving money on the table by not implementing this simple quick win automation. 53%, only 53% sent an after sales review email. Brands are not paying enough attention to the post-purchase experience, which is just as important these days as making a great first impression. The good news is people haven't changed. The customer's expectations may have changed, our marketing tactics have not, but people still buy from people. As humans, we seek to connect and build relationships, and we do this in our daily lives by asking questions. We look at behavior, we recognize body language, we listen, and then we're smart about how we respond. This is exactly what we need to do as marketers. So what tactics are available? Well, at dotdigital, we're on a marketing journey ourselves, and here's a screenshot of our website. So firstly, we have what I call explicit data. We progressively ask questions to capture the data we want that we could use to market. We also listen to implicit data. The difference here is that explicit data is what the users tell us they do, but implicit data is the data that tells us what they're actually doing. So it's a bit like when the doctor asks us how much we really drink. We all want to be perceived in a better light, so we might tell the odd white lie. So implicit data might be more difficult to acquire and perhaps understand, but it is far better because it is clear of any bias. Now, in a marketing sense, what sort of things can we look at? Well, previous interaction and engagement with messages, times of opens, clicks, and the content you looked at gives us a natural starting point for a follow-up conversation, where behavior tracking helps us to listen and tailor content based on what you were looking at. And what we purchased last enables us to predict what you may purchase in the future. And in a B2B sense, we can lead score how engaged you are over time and build up things like a VIP segment. But now we live in a world of omni-channel. We see other data sources and other channels coming to play. Now you can market separately in each of these channels, but the real value is feeding the data from one channel into the others in combination. This powers better campaigns across all channels. Technology is not the silver bullet here, and this might sound strange coming from a technology vendor, but it's so important that you get your strategy right first. It's really important to know what you want to achieve before you go out and buy a technology. There's no one technology that is right for everyone. You may pick a technology that doesn't take you where you want to go aspirationally. The technology is too restrictive, it's too small, and doesn't last. You might pick a technology that sounds like it's going to work for every possible eventuality. It's got all the bells and whistles and different channels you may ever need, but you actually find the only thing that's really integrated is your invoice. So be aware of what I call magpie marketing. Tech vendors are very good at this. They sell you a dream, a new feature or a buzzword that solves all your problems. And the latest craze here is AI. Make sure you really understand what's being delivered and what's going on under the hood. The message here is simple. Sort the strategy out, then pick the technology. So what did the report tell us? Well, even the big brands with big budgets and infinite tech stacks and all the resources in the world are not really doing that great a job. This is good news for you. You can compete. And by the way, you don't have to be the best in your industry. You just have to be that little bit better than your competitors to succeed. So if you're a smaller brand, it means there's plenty of scope to compete. If you're one of those larger brands, it means you may need to up your game. So how do you do this? Well, you do it by better communications. The choice of channel that you communicate these days is decided by the consumer and not you. Consumer expectations have changed. They demand something that makes their life easier, faster, and tailored to their needs. They want something that makes them feel good about using your service or buying your product. It has always been about the right message to the right person at the right time, but now we must also factor in the right channel. So talking of channels, what does the mobile landscape look like today? These days, actually making a call on your cell phone now ranks behind using it as an alarm clock, would you believe? Only 1 in 4 people actually use their phones to make a phone call each week. As we know, more people are using their mobile devices to browse the web and open up emails, etc., etc. Messaging and social sit side by side as the top reasons why people are picking up their cell phones. And why do we do this? Well, it's simple. It's all about messaging. Messaging has made it so easy to stay in touch. Importantly, consumers now want to message to contact with brands. And by the way, they're used to posting on, say, Instagram or Facebook, and within seconds, people responding to them. If they send a Facebook message or a live chat to your business, they expect an immediate response. So when they're researching or buying products, the consumer expectation these days is immediacy. So how has the world of messaging changed itself? As I say, 89% of consumers now wish they could use messaging to contact a business. And that is a massive change of attitude we've seen over the last 1 or 2 years. 64% said they would prefer a live chat over a voice call for customer service issues. Providing multiple channels for customers to contact us does work. It increases leads from your website and it shifts support calls to live chat. There are the days when having a website, a contact form and a phone number would satisfy a customer. When waiting 24 hours for a reply would be enough, or holding on the telephone line for 25 minutes was deemed acceptable. So I thought I'd highlight how you can use omni-channel messaging and incorporate this into your customer journey. So first up, when someone visits your website, they could be a new user or a repeat customer, we immediately engage with them. And in this case, we do it with web push and live chat. And we do this because we want to drive data capture, drive engagement and increase conversions. And most importantly, demonstrate the value of their visit. Now you have someone interested, get them to sign up and get their permission. If you're offering something like 10% off or free delivery or buy one, get one free, it's okay to expect something back in return. And it's critical to validate the data you're collecting so you can market to those users in the future. Here we see a sign-up form asking standard information, name, email, phone number, and we validate this using SMS and push. So we ask for the cell phone number, we send a code to that cell phone, and then send a push notification to confirm the registration. And that includes a link to the offer we gave them. So now they've signed up, we know they're interested. Customers now want to do more research, so invite them to a live chat. Visitors who are invited to chat are 6.3% more likely to convert. Depending on the product, we often see up to 60% of conversions straight after the first live chat. Answer the questions as quickly as possible to increase that conversion rate, and it's critical you deploy the right people on your live chat. They need to be responsive and knowledgeable about your product. Now with the order confirmation, here we're using email and Facebook Messenger. Why? Well, we do this to give the customer confidence that order has been confirmed. A knowledgeable, informed customer is a happy customer. On the thank you page, simply add the Facebook Messenger widget. This button says, please send me purchase confirmation and delivery information to my Facebook Messenger. They're giving you permission to send notifications in this channel. So now they have ordered, we can use a dispatch notifications to our advantage to drive up the average order value. And here we're using email, Facebook Messenger, and SMS. We're giving them the best customer experience possible by doing this. And most importantly, we're opening a two-way channel to communicate. Perhaps there were issues with the order, they ordered the wrong size or wrong color, or perhaps the customer wants to add more to the order itself, driving up that average order value. Now, as you can see, data is at the heart of all of this. It's incredibly important. We use it well, and you will make your customers feel special. And I think making your customers feel special is sexy. Now, the fact that I find data incredibly sexy is not enough for me. I want you to go away from this session today thinking it's sexy too. Now, let's get our brains around some of the data that's out there. How long do you think it would take to count to 1 billion? I'll put you out of your misery. If you count continually one number per second, it would actually take you 31 years, 251 days. Now, how many bytes of data do you think we as humans, not just on this session, but in general, create each day? It's truly mind-boggling. We actually create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data each day. That's a quintillion, 18 zeros, count them. It's difficult to get your head around that. Now, 90% of the data in the world today has been created only in the last couple of years. We're actually generating data at an alarming rate. We're gathering things like shopping information, digital pictures and videos, purchase transactions, GPS signals, the posts to social media, and so on. The list is endless. In this year's Direct Marketing Association, the marketing tracker they do, 38% of marketers say that data is a challenge for them. 42% say budget and resource is actually a bigger challenge, and 25% say strategy and leadership is an issue. But surely understanding data and strategy go hand in hand. Essentially, bad data and a bad strategy and bad technology leads to, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And I'm sure a lot of us feel like that. Maybe you don't have the right data, or you've collected some really good data, but now what do you do? Or perhaps you have the strategy and data, but not the right tools to process both. Well, that last bit's easy. Use Engagement Cloud and our fantastic partners. Job done. You're welcome. But seriously, going back to your data and strategy, we still find that not everyone knows what to do. We're all kind of expected to be some sort of data scientist this day. So, and it's not actually about the data you have, it's really about the data and how you use it. This stems from there being so many products out there. It drives up all of that data. The average consumer has so much choice, and nowadays less time, and this can lead to a lot of choices. Now, Michael Koval of Bolin Marketing recently presented the following formula that I really like. Now, in short, too many choices, plus too little time, plus uncertainty leads to stress, anxiety, and most importantly, paralysis. They do nothing. Now, let's extrapolate this to a dating example. I mean, everyone uses online dating when looking for love. It's kind of the norm these days. But there's an overwhelming amount of choice, and this has created a real problem. We see folks swiping away on Tinder just in case there's something better out there next. These folks actually need some help. They need a friend who knows them really well, and for example, to say, hey, Ashley, I know what you need. Let me introduce you to my friend Ryan. So this is what we need to do as marketers. We all want an easy route. We want to maximize our well-being and minimize pain. We know that our customers want a personalized and relevant experience, yet we continue to send generic bulk campaigns. We assume too much. We work on instinct instead of letting the data tell us what to do. So how do we do this? What is the secret? Well, spoiler alert, there isn't one. Everyone's data is different, but you can get close to that answer with what I'm about to go through next. So now is the time to pay attention. So how often have you addressed the following questions in your business? Who are the customers spending the most? Who are the customers that are loyal, coming back and placing another order? Who are the newest customers? Who are the customers I'm about to lose? And who are the customers I've lost already? Well, let's look at those and start with something I call RFM modeling. That's recency, frequency, and monetary. Why do we need this? Well, this gives us a starting point. It allows us to build some buckets of data that we can segment on. So recency, the date of the last purchase made by a customer. Frequency, the number of orders each customer placed with you up until today. And monetary, the sum of the value of all the orders the customer has placed. So how do we build these models? Well, we could use Excel for those that are spreadsheet geeks out there. You could use something like a lead scoring tool or segments. You can even use the automation tool. You don't have to actually send once you've used the automation tool. You can use it just to flow data into the relevant buckets that you need. So the first step is to have a look at all your data and extract the historical data available for calculating those RFM values. The second step, now that you have the data for all three elements, you need to then group it and give each group a score. Then you'll need to group these contacts into your various buckets. So let me walk you through that. So what do these potential buckets look like? Well, here's lots of examples here. There's some examples. Champions, these guys bought recently, they buy often and spend the most. Reward these guys. They can be early adopters to new products and promote your brand. Then we have the can't lose bucket. They make the biggest purchases and often, but haven't returned for a long time. Win them back via renewals or send them information about newer products. Don't lose them to the competition. Make sure you're contacting them. Then we have the at risk. Lower recency and frequency and monetary scores, perhaps. but revive their interest, reach out to them with a campaign. Make sure you do not ignore them. Now, RFM modeling is really effective and it's a great tool to add to your arsenal if used correctly. It will take your segmentation to the next level. However, it can be a bit cold and one-dimensional, and make sure you're factoring in issues like always targeting high-scoring customers because you could annoy them, and then neglecting the lower-scoring customers because they should be nurtured. This can, though, be rather cold. So how do we become less robotic or you become more human? If someone walked into a store, you'd build up some sort of bias, a bit like you do with RFM modeling, and you use this to help to sell to them. But it's only once you speak to them or you look at how they move around your store that you'll actually be able to work out who they are and what they want. So to make RFM modeling really work, you need to layer more data over the top. Or simply put, combine your buyer profile with your buyer insights and understand their personas. Buyer personas are profiles that represent your ideal customers. You create them with a combination of market research and real data about existing customers. This will give you a deeper awareness. If you don't know who you're aiming at, how are you going to sell your products or services to them? Communicate with your customers, gauge who they are, what they want, what appeals to them most. Run surveys and polls. Look at your competitors and see how their customers are interacting with them. This will give you a better understanding of who you're speaking to across all of the channels. Give your persona a name. It's important to bring them to life and humanize your marketing efforts. Know things like job title, demographics like age and gender, household income, the location. Are they from an urban area, suburban, or maybe a rural region? Understand what their goals and challenges are. They'll probably have a main goal, but do they also have a secondary goal? What are their values and fears? Do they have a main personal value? What are the common objections they were likely to have during the sales process? Think about how you might describe your product or service to this type of person so you can overcome those objections. Doing this helps to build your sexy data. RFM helps you to segment, whilst personas help you personalize. Understanding your audience is key to connecting with them. If you know them better, simply put, they'll hang out with you more. This will make your life easier, but most importantly, it will make their life easier too. But what if you don't have enough data or any data at all? Well, a persona is still something that you can do. You can always make a framework for the ideal customer you want to target. Over time, you can acquire the data that this persona needs. There is an ethical question here. With all this data we have at our disposal, first of all, whose data is it? Well, it's not yours, it's theirs, it's your customers. So do right by it. I think things like GDPR has generated great awareness here. So we now know we have to do better by it, be open, honest, and transparent. And I think this is great, and this is how things should be. So let's wrap things up. I've covered a hell of a lot of here in a very short space of time. So a quick recap. So in short, there's a lot of data out there we need to capture and model. This need not be scary. There's so much that we can do with it to make our lives and our customers' lives better if you actually put your mind to it. We need to know how to harness this data, build buckets of data based on analysis, and then listen to what the data is saying. And don't be creepy with the data. Respect what people give you, and they will appreciate that. Now, if that isn't sexy, I don't know what is. Now, remember, don't assume things. Don't think creative first, but do think data first. As a brand, you have the opportunity to drive your conversion rates, drive loyalty, and the lifetime value by giving fantastic customer experiences if you do this. And you do this by linking all the conversations and data points from all of your channels. Use this information in every sales and marketing conversation, and you do this by using more data and being more human, and by using more marketing automation to deliver relevancies and efficiencies to your business. Now, this sounds like a big task, but you can break big tasks into bite-sized chunks. And we have a simple mantra that I'm going to leave you with that we use here at dotdigital to help our clients' mindsets stay in tune so they can achieve this. So you can do this by thinking big. That is your plan. Starting small. Start with the one thing that you can solve today, tomorrow, or this week. Then scale quickly. Do that every single day or week. For example, setting up a new automation each week. By the end of the year, you could have 52 automations in play, and that's across all channels. You will be the envy of all of your competitors if you do this. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening in today and checking out our content. Another big thanks for MW2 for helping put this on, along with Noah Small from Bolt and Tink Taylor from dotdigital, and all our teams here behind the scenes, and everybody there at the DSA. Hope everything goes well. Have a great rest of your day. And if you want to get in touch with anyone from today's meeting or one of our solution architects, go to mw2direct.com/engage2020.